Department's fiscal year 2026 budget hearing. And from our office, we have Jim Karshner, who's going to present our budget analysis.
Good afternoon,
Take it away,
everyone.
Hey, Jim, how are you?
Good, sir. How are you today?
Good.
Good. Good to hear. The operating budget highlights for the police department begin on page 2. As shown in the budget summary at the top of page 2, the proposed fiscal year 2026 operating budget for the department totals $306.3 million. It's an increase of $12.4 million or 4.2% over the fiscal year 2025 budget. The general fund portion of the budget totals $277.7 million, an increase of $10.6 million or 4% over the fiscal year 2025 budget, primarily due to increases in negotiated salary scale adjustments, increments in longevities, overtime, callback, shift differential, supplemental wages, and 3 new police officer positions. The special fund portion of the budget totals $28.6 million and increases by $1.8 million or 6.6%, primarily due to increases for the school bus camera program of $4.5 million, partially offset by the anticipated discontinuation of 16 grants totaling $1.8 million. Noteworthy highlights on page 3 and 4 include a reduction in vacant positions to 345 from 412 in March of 2024, slightly increased budget turnover savings from 9.4% to 9.9%, the recruitment and retention challenges with the department's fiscal year 2026 strategies, statistics on recruit classes, increases in non-personnel costs, which include firearms and related supplies, motor fuel costs, and helicopter maintenance, and an update on the department's assigned vehicle community presence program. At the bottom of page 4, capital budget, equipment financing package, and the ARPA highlights are mentioned, which include a $21.5 million in additional earmarking of PAYGO funding for the department's operational buildings and police facilities, as well as the $25.5 million in bonds for the Essex precinct replacement. Continuing on page 5, Exhibit 1 displays the department's budget history. In Exhibit 2A and 2B, the pie charts show the proposed funding that will be allocated across programs and expenditures. The Operating Bureau represents the largest program allocation, while the personnel costs represent the largest category of expenditures. On page 6, Exhibit 3 shows the department's budgeted increases and decreases, with personnel cost changes in yellow, non-personnel cost changes in orange, and the amount of special fund change in green. Also on page 6, Exhibit 4 shows the history of authorized versus filled positions. On page 7, the analysis notes the areas within the budget that may reflect departmental specific budget flexibility in an effort to provide insight into the operational context for any potential reductions. And finally, we have prepared a list of questions for the department and the Office of Budget and Finance, which we are hoping can be discussed today or addressed with a written response. I'd like to thank the Chief, the departmental staff, and the Office of Budget and Finance for their assistance during the budget review process. And at this time, I'd like to turn it over for discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Liz? Questions from the members at this point? None? Okay. All right, Liz.
The chief is welcome to
The
take
chief,
it away.
you wanna take over?
All righty. Good afternoon to everyone. I want to start by thanking the council for their continued support of the police department, which enables the furthering of our mission from day to day. I want to thank you for investing in our new facilities, specifically our new Wilkins precinct, our new Essex precinct, and everything that's being done to create a new special operations division facility at the Hannah Moore location. I want to also thank the council for the security upgrades and funding for the fencing for the Wilkins precinct. This was urgently needed after an officer-involved incident and has helped to strengthen the security of aging infrastructure and to give our officers greater confidence in and around their workplaces. When it comes to staffing and recruitment, the department's focus remains on recruiting qualified persons for all open positions within the department. The department continues its efforts in recruiting with multiple events throughout the area designed to reach a large and diverse candidate pool. The full-time recruitment team often has planned a variety of recruitment and pop-up events around the region. They also travel out of state to recruit educated talent, specifically at places like John Jay College in New York, Northern Virginia, Tennessee, and other surrounding states. We also host multiple agility testing dates throughout each month and often weekly. We host those at locations like the Northeast Regional Recreation Center, Randallstown, Coppermine, the Public Safety Building here in Towson.
Hello.
We have expanded advertising and outreach through radio ads, signs at BWI, stadium events, Ocean City Boardwalk, and community events. We do social media outreach, and we also produce docuseries through our public information office. We've been in our docuseries we created. We actually follow our recruits and their academy experience. We also have converted to a software program called eSoft that helps us better board our applicants and to track their hiring process. And we also continue with our website, www.joinbaltimorecountypd.com. And in the questioning, there were questions about the extent, to what extent do our turnover savings and budgets affect the department's ability to hire. The turnover savings does not and will not affect the department's ability to hire. Retirements and traditional non-retirements departures are difficult to anticipate. However, the department expects these numbers to exceed the typical allotment of recruit and comparative compliance experienced officer classes and participants. But we do our very best to make sure that we're filling these classes to max capacity quite often up until the last minute to those classes when they begin. In terms of our vacancies, when it comes to the sworn, as of May the 12th, our source material from PHR, we had a total of 230 vacancies. 68 recruits are currently in training. The recruit class has scheduled, we have a recruit class, our next recruit class is scheduled for September 2025. I think it's actually specifically September the 6th. When it comes to our experienced officer program, our applications are up. 25 have been received in reference to the next class, which is pending. When it comes to cadets, we have a total of 14 cadet vacancies. These positions afford an inside look at the department and early access to training and experience. This program often acts as a feeding system for the police academy. It is not uncommon to have 8 to 10 cadets eligible to enter the police academy. And over time, we've increased our cadet numbers, and we've really focused on hiring cadets, and we continue to do that because it's an excellent way to feed in our agency. Of course, many of the senior staff sitting around the table with me, including myself, we're all cadets in our career. Year to date, the department has received 96 applications for cadet positions, and it's actively working these through the process. When it comes to professional staff, There are a total of 76 vacancies, down from well over 100 this time last year, as reflected in our numbers that was highlighted earlier. We have 29 professional staff currently in our background process. Our largest vacancies are in the records section. All these positions are actively posted and being interviewed as viable resumes are received. Another question submitted to us was, why do authorized positions increase every year despite significant numbers of vacancies? The number of authorized sworn positions increases the fiscal year, this fiscal year by 3 due to a tactical unit expansion plan that was approved under former County Executive Johnny Olszewski Jr. to add 3 positions per year for 4 years for a total of 12 positions to the tactical section. This expansion was implemented in order to address new legislation that increased demand for tactical team members in warrant service and apprehension. FY 2026 is the final year of this build out. Another question was, what are the net costs of savings associated with the position vacancy, considering both the increased overtime expenses needed for shift coverage and the savings from not paying fringe benefits? First of all, police officers budgeted at the base rate of $69,545. The Baltimore County Police Department does not budget fringe benefits. This is a calculation completed by the Office of Budget and Finance. The coverage required for a vacant position varies based on the operational need and can be affected by jurisdictional activity patterns and needed shifts. Overtime is often affected by vacancies and accounts for some of the growth of the overtime and callback budget for this fiscal year. When it comes to efficiencies, we have reallocated some positions internally in our department to our new info center, which is a real-time crime center, which we're excited about sharing with the council and having you all come in and actually see. We have had some members stop in and see that the info center, but it's a proactive model with officers on higher priority calls to ensure fast, accurate information is relayed from both secure and open source data. This model actively assists patrol and investigative units to act as a workforce multiplier. There have already been hundreds of assists from calls for service to large-scale felony investigations. For example, involving we had a liquor store burglary that occurred, and the trend actually spanned several jurisdictions. I believe it was Howard County and Anne Arundel County also. It also, the Info Center recently assisted just as recent as this past weekend on Saturday, in which we had a non-fatal shooting in the Wilkins precinct at the Beltway Shopping Center there at Maiden Choice and Wilkins Avenue, in which it played a key role in helping us to identify multiple suspects and to arrest and apprehend the suspects in that case. Looking to the future, the Info Center's hours and personnel will be expanded. We're also leveraging technology, and one of those technologies that we will be leveraging as a result of budget funds is our Drone as First Responder program. We're actually looking to pilot that program in 2 areas, in Towson and Randallstown, as I've spoken to several of the members of the council about, and we'll talk to the additional members about in the next coming couple of weeks. This program can drastically reduce the department's response time to calls for services. For example, the average response time for our officers is typically about 7 minutes across the county. The Drone as First Responder will be able to respond in up to about 90 seconds, as little as 90 seconds. And sometimes even, we've done studies in Towson where it's like, I think as low as 35 seconds. So we're excited about, utilizing this drone, as first responder program. The drones can also provide valuable evidentiary information as officers are still responding, along with up-to-date situational awareness so that they can know exactly what type of situation they're walking into. Drones make it safer for officers and the public to have real-time eyes on the scene. It also offers an opportunity to de-escalate a police response prior to arrival should the conditions warrant. Citizen information and input sessions are being currently scheduled. When will the drone as first responder program be active, and how will it assist with the department's operations? I've talked about that pretty much in detail, but currently the program is in its pilot stage, and we don't have a set start date. However, we're looking forward to bringing the program hopefully online sometime this summer, and we will be updating the council as the program moves along. We're also utilizing a software program called Fusus that will allow the integration of multiple systems, improving workflow information and productivity. It creates one place for multiple systems, GPS cameras, LPR, and other investigative resources. It will allow one-stop shop for info center personnel, making an already efficient model even more effective and responsive. We've also brought back a concept that we used to utilize. It was actually at one time called the telephone reporting unit. We now call it the remote reporting team. It's being currently built out. It's being utilized to reduce unnecessary response by patrol officers, ultimately reducing wait times for citizens and allowing the department to allocate more resources to higher priority calls for service. This includes online reporting of nonviolent shoplifting incidents by trained loss prevention personnel to secure online through a secure online portal. This program is evolving and will begin to include more retailers and in additional areas of the county. Next, I would like to talk about our crime statistics. I'll first address the topic of homicides. In 2024, there was a total of 28 homicides, which was down from 1, which was a reduction of 3.4% from 2023, and down by 5 from 2022, which was a reduction of 14.7%. To date, the homicide clearance rate for 2024 cases is 78.6, which is far above the national average. 22 out of 28 cases cleared, which once again, I would highlight is a clearance rate of 78.6%. And 2025 year to date, the homicide clearance rate for 2025 is 68.7%. That's 11 out of 60 out of 16. I would like to highlight the fact that it's important to note that not all homicides involve firearms. Some are domestic related, drug related, and some of them are even also possibly justified. For the numbers are up 6 this year, which is an increase of 60% from 2024. However, we continue to work on those cases and to work to clear them. And while homicides are up, the increase, the thing that's driven most of the increase has been domestic related types of incidents. Next, I'd like to talk about non-fatal shootings. In 2024, there were a total of 75, which was up by 10 from up 15% from 2023, but 1 less than the total in 2022. To date, the 2024 non-fatal shooting clearance rate is 74.6%, 56 out of 75 cases cleared. For 2025, we've had a total of 19 non-fatal shootings, which is down by 2, which is minus 9.5% from 2024, and down 4, which is minus 22.7% from 2022. To date, the in 2025 non-fatal shooting clearance rate is 58.8%. That's 10 out of 17 case clearances. Also of note, some of the non-fatal shooting cases are blended with homicide cases. An example would be the recent Woodlawn hookah lounge case. 3 victims in our non-fatal shooting numbers and 1 in our homicide numbers. As a reminder, under NIBRS, the non-fatal shooting homicide numbers are counted by victim, not incident. This changed from UCR with the change from UCR to NIBRS in 2021. Historically, some non-fatal shooting investigations reveal that the victim suffered a self-inflicted gunshot wound and falsely reported the incident as being the victim of a crime. When it comes to auto thefts, an auto theft trend involving Hyundai and Kia vehicles increased in 2023 and 2024 due to social media videos demonstrating an easy method of stealing certain models that do not have a proximity key fob or push start button. The trend has continued, but appears to have slowed significantly. Overall, vehicle theft is down in Baltimore County approximately 33%. There were, in 2024, 1,429 cases. Year to date in 2025, we've only had 944 cases. The department has conducted various outreach techniques and continued public messaging since this trend began, to include social media broadcasts, news, media coverage, and community wheel lock events, all in effort to arm the public with knowledge and prevention techniques. There were questions about liquor license related complaints. In 2024, the Vice Unit conducted 3 separate operations where cadets were utilized to attempt to purchase alcohol from liquor establishments. A total of 30 complaints were received for establishments selling liquor to minors. Out of those 30 complaints, there have been multiple complaints for 8 of the same establishments. The results of those operations are as follows. On February 1st in 2024, we had 15 locations that we attempted to conduct operations at. 11 locations carded the cadets, 4 locations sold alcohol to the cadets. 26.6% of the establishments sold alcohol to the cadets. On April the 25th in 2024, 11 locations were attempted, 8 locations carded the cadets, 3 locations served the cadets, 27.3% of the establishments sold alcohol to the cadets. And on December the 5th in 2024, 12 locations were attempted, 1 location was closed, 8 locations carded the cadets, 3 locations served the cadets, 27.3% of the establishments sold all to the cadets. In addition to that, we had by precinct, the Wilkins precinct, we had 3 complaints. Woodlawn, we had 2 complaints. Franklin, we had 1 complaint. Towson, we had 8 complaints. Cockeysville, we had 5 complaints. White Marsh, we had 2. Precinct 11, Essex, we had 5. And Dundalk, we had 3. As of today's date, the Vice Unit has currently received 3 minor alcohol complaints for 2025, all are at separate locations. There has not been yet been a detail during 2025 to attempt to purchase from these locations. Once we receive more complaints, a detail utilizing cadets will be conducted. The complaints by precinct for 2025 are we have 1 in Towson, 1 in Parkville, and 1 in Dundalk. As for the type of liquor law violations we received, the majority of the complaints or for selling alcohol to minors. However, we have received complaints for hookah lounges, and hookah establishments selling liquor without a license, and also for electronic gaming devices at liquor establishments that pay out cash to the patrons. When it comes to our assigned vehicle community presence program, our take-home car program, 123 members are currently participating across 10 precincts. 63 vehicles were converted from the existing fleet, or when the participant's job assignment is conducive to the program, for example, SROs and traffic officers. 60 vehicles have been added to the program since the summer of 2024. More being added once the manufacturer confirms delivery and outfitting can occur. The program has led to an increase in visibility of our marked patrol vehicles, which can act as both a crime deterrent and a recruitment tool. We hope to continue and expand this program. There was a question as, is each employee of the assigned vehicle community presence program waitlist a county resident? What are the department's plans to address its current wait list? How long does it take to outfit the new vehicles with this? So yes, every member in the program lives in the county. Each employee on the wait list is a county resident, which is a requirement of the program. We would like to expand this program in the future, but are currently bound by budgetary restrictions. Next, I'd like to address the school crossing guard program. The FY 2025 budget included additional positions to oversee the program, as well as 27 new guards. A total of 300 guards have been allocated and were filled through natural attrition. The department is currently working to fill 13 vacancies. Through tens of thousands of less calls for service for officers to perform this necessary function, a significant savings and efficient allocation of resources has been realized. Thanks to the help that we received from the council, we've taken something that had been a problem for decades in our police department and completely eliminated that problem. And we actually are saving many man hours in terms of not having assigned police officers to crossing guard details, because we're hiring and we're actually paying a good wage to our traffic guards. Has the large roster of candidates waiting to work designated traffic guard details freed up sworn personnel? As I've said, yes, hiring the traffic guard personnel have significantly eliminated our calls for service for officers covering those traffic posts. Next, I'd like to address the state legislative advocacy. The department uses existing resources to advocate in Annapolis for public safety and for Baltimore County. Last year, we requested and won passage of 2 bills. One to make the Glock switch illegal in the state of Maryland. That's a small device that turns a semi-automatic firearm into a fully automatic machine gun. And the second, to close a loophole in the state and a state secondhand dealer regulation that was allowing catalytic converters to be sold to recyclers with no documentation or accountability. That work was led by the police department's legal section, assisted by detectives who specialize in those areas, whose teams had brought the ideas for legislation forward. This year, we did not request any bills, but my staff worked closely, as we always do, with the Maryland Chiefs and Sheriffs Association for working on various bills and assisting with drafting testimony and providing data and analysis. Out-of-state vehicle registration is a big problem. I've talked to many of you about this problem. It's one of my pet peeves. These Virginia tags we see driving around. We're seeing a lot of these cars registered in Virginia to avoid taxes and registration fees, and also to avoid Maryland's insurance requirements. We have been trying to get action on that in Annapolis, and we will try to again in next year's session. Because Maryland and Virginia don't have reciprocity in this area, we are having difficulty finding a clear, effective solution. It's costing Maryland a lot of money and causing a lot of expensive problems for our residents who get into car accidents with these Virginia registered cars. Lastly, I'd like to talk about the future of the agency and offer my closing remarks. We recently concluded our 150th anniversary events and plan to make several of those events annual. The county has a rich and proud history when it comes to service and improving public safety to its residents. It is because of this council's support of its police department that we are poised and prepared to take on the challenges and opportunities of the future. These challenges and opportunities include investment in employees, career development, health and wellness. Especially, we like to thank you for approving our recent K-9 that's been added to the department, and training, workplace efficiencies, and investigating emerging technologies such as AI and cyber intelligence crimes that will likely change the landscape of policing in the future. With the council's continued support, I'm confident the department is prepared to meet these and other future challenges while maintaining our levels of commitment and service to the community, which makes Baltimore County a great place to live, work, play, and to do business and to raise a family. I'd like to thank you. Elvin, I hope some of you are still awake.
Thank you, Chief. Are there questions from the members at all for Chief McCullough? Councilman Jones. That's a big hand.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to commend Chief McCullough and his team there at the police department for doing an excellent job. See him out and about doing all the recruiting, and the cadet program is a very important program. Provides a pathway for young people to not only get paid but also a career into the department, as Chief McCullough had followed that path as well. So I just wanted to commend him and the team for doing a great job. I think the clearance rate at 78% is very important, and I think it sends a message to anyone that if you're going to commit a homicide and you do it in Baltimore County, there's a 0.75% or 78% or 80% chance you're going to be caught and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And I think that makes all of us safer. So thank you very much.
And I would like to say kudos to my senior staff that's sitting around this table. And my 40 years of being in law enforcement, I've never worked, and I mean this sincerely, I've never worked with a better group of people in my career.
Here, here. Chief, did you say, I know this isn't budget related, but did you say on the Virginia tags that you're going to look to ask for legislation, or?
Yes, I've been constantly speaking to our delegates and state senators about trying to do something with, trying to put together a work group, or put together something where we can actually come up with some strategies and try to work with the state of Virginia to close some of these loopholes, because many of these people who are driving around are people who have just not paid. They have these speed camera tickets, or they have other violations, and they can't renew their Maryland registration, so they go to Virginia, or a lot of them are registering their vehicle in Virginia utilizing their Maryland address.
I know you're preaching to the choir on this one. I don't know if you saw the Bike More thing from the city, where they had 10 vehicles in the entire city. There were more than that, but 10 vehicles accounted for $81,000 in unpaid speed cameras, speeding camera tickets, and 6 of the 10 tags had Virginia tags.
Well, we're going to be putting together, we've been actively talking with operations, and our operations are going to get back to doing some of the things that we used to do when we had this problem years ago. We're going to start working with the Motor Vehicle Administration to put together details, and we'll start going around the county looking at specific high-density communities and starting to address this issue with the Motor Vehicle Administration.
Yeah, I'm putting together a parking bill right now where apparently when we do parking enforcement, we can only tow a vehicle that's had more than 3 parking tickets with more than 30 days old. And we're looking to potentially, if my colleagues go along with me on it, looking to change it to 3 citations. So if they have camera ticket, if they have parking tickets and a camera ticket, or any 3 tickets, parking enforcement can have the vehicle towed. That might be helpful too, but I feel like we got a lot of resistance from some of the delegates, especially on the west side of the county, that seem to think this is not a big problem, but
Well, I can tell you, I come to work every day.
I,
At least 25% of the cars that I see have Virginia tags on them. And those people aren't coming from Virginia in the middle of the night to go to work.
I know that. And you know, if you go down in the city, I got routed through the city a couple weeks ago, going southbound, went down Monroe Street. It was like every 3rd car had Virginia tags on it. I was
Yeah.
like, there's no way all these people are tied to Virginia. But it's not only the fines, it's, you know, we're not getting the registration fees, we're not getting the sale. A lot of the dealerships are selling, you know, cars here in Baltimore and then putting Virginia tags on them. They're paying sales tax to Virginia, and yet we keep raising the sales tax on cars in Maryland. So if you're doing it the right way, you're paying more. You're paying more for your tags. It's just,
And I don't want to prolong this anymore, but the other issue is abandoned vehicles. You know, we need to work with Annapolis to tighten up legislation around abandoned vehicles. We need to tighten up the time period in terms of if those cars are towed, that allows these licensed scrappers to actually to do away with the vehicles. You know, if they tow something and the person doesn't claim that vehicle within 90 days, they should be able to go get a title for these vehicles. And it would kind of give the licensed scrappers more incentive to tow more of these abandoned autos for us and take some of the problem cars that we see on the street off the street also.
okay. Yeah, well, sorry to bring up a sore subject.
Yeah, the source for me.
Councilman Jones?
No, I appreciate the discussion and thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just feel compelled, sitting here, you're not going to find a Virginia tag on my vehicles, but I'm here to tell you that everyone that is doing that is not doing it because they want to skirt the law or they want to be a bad actor and ride around getting tickets. Many of these people are doing it out of desperation because that's all they can afford. Because the insurance rates here in Maryland is so much money, some people just cannot afford it. And I'm speaking from a person who has 4 vehicles sitting outside between my wife and my daughter. It can be extremely expensive. So I say that to say everybody that's doing it is not doing it because they choose to skirt the law. Some people are doing it out of desperation.
Well, they might want to, you know, unfortunately, Councilman Jones, they're using our roads, they're using our police resources, and other people have to pay for their stuff. And you should not be able to get tags in Maryland if you're not a Virginia resident or any other state.
So I've taken up enough of your time.
All right.
Any more questions? But once again, I want to thank my team, especially Ms. Taylor Hopkins Smith, our budget director, who does a phenomenal job at both managing and directing our budget in the police department. And just Kevin Reed, stay away from him.
Can I have one more thing, Mr. Chairman?
Oh, Councilman Marks, did you have a question?
Yes, I think Councilman Crandall might have as well. Can you hear me?
I don't see Councilman Crandall.
Yeah, I do. Go ahead, Councilman Marks. It's fine.
Okay, thank you. I had to step away for a minute. Did anyone
Oh, there you
discuss the water situation that was in the Baltimore Sun today, the precincts? Did that come up?
No, we didn't discuss that, sir.
I mean, I know this is more of a property management issue, and did you want to say anything about that, Chief McCullough?
Quite frankly, I think it's basically theater. I think we've tested the water there. I think it was one faucet that had a problem. It was in an area which employees aren't even supposed to use. I think this really is about employees wanting us to provide them with bottled water stations in their workplace, and less about the water, actual water in the building and the testing of that water.
Okay. I don't know if it's theater. I think it's an important concern, but I do appreciate the fact that, you know, some of these facilities are going to be upgraded at Essex Precinct, and we'll move toward that. The only other thing I would mention, I know we just had a round of speed camera notifications, and, you know, our office sends requests to you, and I appreciate your help vetting them. Before those are announced, it would be very helpful if we knew we got that notification first. 2 of those were in my district, and that just would have been helpful.
Yes, sir.
But thank you for your work vetting those. As every council member knows, speeding is probably one of the most difficult issues we deal with. There's really no solution that is 100% popular, and appreciate all the work you do vetting the requests we receive. Thank you.
Yeah, our challenge there is, of course, the number of citations go down, so we have to move these cameras around. And as the number of citations go down, sometimes we have to also add locations to basically address those additional locations where we receive complaints.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Crandall?
Councilman Crandall? Yeah, I'm sorry.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Julian, did you have something else that you wanted to add before
Yeah, Julian, sorry.
I was just gonna make a comment that, it's not new. We have, you can't go down the highway and not see a vehicle, a trailer on a tractor without Maine tags. Because Maine is so much cheaper than every other state in the union, and that's why you have all these trailers with Maine tags. And in order to form a more perfect union, you have these United States, and the laws apply just like any corporation. So many of them are titled and incorporated in Delaware because they're so much cheaper than everybody else. So this kind of thing happens by businesses and everybody else trying to, make it as cheap as they can for themselves. I just wanted to add that part.
Thank you, Councilman Jones. I'm sorry, I'm joining Chief and the team. I'm sorry, I'm joining a little bit late. I had some technical difficulty signing on, and it wasn't user error, believe it or not. It wasn't all me. I just wanted to 2 things really. I know that the 12th precinct is more than aware, and I just wanted to really just put it on the record that we need to work with our partners in the Maryland with MDOT, as well as Baltimore County Police and DPWP on truck traffic in the Dundalk area, considering the growth of Trade Point Atlantic, the growth of the port, and we saw when the collapse of the Key Bridge happened that it just sort of exacerbated the problem. I know that Lauren Buckler, who is on with us, I believe, I know that she has been advocating with the state to help us with one of the with the construction of the new bridge to help us with removing a toll that would allow trucks to stay out of the Dundalk area and use Broning Highway and the major truck routes instead of going through neighborhoods. And the 12th Precinct has been very cooperative with us. I know that resources are tight and we can't just enforce everywhere, but when we've asked for enforcement does take place. And the precinct has been very cooperative with our office on taking measures to alleviate this problem. I think that there's a bit of a grace period with the bridge being down, with trucks not like, I've described it before as trucks are like water. They will find a way. They will find a route to go, whether it's a legal route or not. And I know that we ask a lot of our police department, and it's a lot to basically enforce illegal truck traffic on every possible route. But I do believe that the precinct is doing the best that they can. So I wanted to let you know I appreciate that, and hopefully we can keep that issue on the radar.
Yes, sir. I
Okay.
can tell you this morning, I was down in Dundalk early this morning, 6:30 this morning, and had a chance to observe that traffic this morning. And it's incredible, the number of Amazon trucks and other type trucks that are especially traveling up and down, small roads like Holabird Avenue, to the point that when I got back here to headquarters this morning, I had conversations with Major Weedick about that. And we had conversations, like I said, as recent as this morning, about how severe a problem that is down there.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I know that it's not being ignored, and I've had numerous conversations with Major Weedick on this topic, and there's a price to be paid for progress, but there, especially with the collapse of the bridge, the tragedy that it was, I think presents an opportunity to maybe do things in a better way and reroute our truck traffic in a better way that takes some of the stress off of enforcement on the police department's part and just establish legal routes that are not as costly as they have been in the past for the truckers. Basically, the truckers avoid those routes because of the cost associated with it. So it's not an unknown issue. It's not new, but I do appreciate that. And then secondly, I wanted to, my colleagues know that I've sort of been big on this donation of the service dog, the therapy dog. And I just wanted to thank you and the leadership team and acknowledge the service dog is it's a therapy dog and it's part of peer support, but I think it represents, and I said this publicly, I think it represents a step in a direction that the department is taking to acknowledge that the mental health and wellness of our law enforcement officers is important. And I was able to share a picture of Avenger with my colleagues today. Avenger is on duty at a conference in DC, so he's traveling and already working. So I just wanted to acknowledge that fact.
Yeah, yes, sir. We look forward to sharing Avenger around the county. Many people have already requested to have him stop by, so he'll be up and about. And I guess lastly, I just want to, on behalf of the men and women of the Baltimore County Police Department, our members, just thank the council and the administration for all the support that we get daily from you guys. It's nice to enjoy the type of support that we get. Take it from me, I talk to many of my colleagues, and in their jurisdictions, they do not enjoy the type of support that we get from our council as a whole. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you for everything that you continue to do, that you're currently doing, and everything that I'm confident you will do to keep us moving forward in the future. So once again, thank you. Councilman Young?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Chief, just wanted to, one, you mentioned it earlier, I just wanted to thank you for the support precinct. One for security measures after the shooting incident. That would be continued support. Your space for the office. I know that we're always balance security, but also having an open and accessible precinct so that we don't consistently the public from the work that you will do. And I appreciate your commitment. Just would commend you for doing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right. Unless there's any more questions, I think any other questions for Chief McCullough and his staff? Going once, twice? All right. Liz, you want to move to the next item? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you, Chief and Police, for answering all our questions. We really appreciate that. Now we're moving on to the Department of Public Works and Transportation's fiscal year 2026 budget. And the legislative analyst from our office is Lisa Kispert, who's going to present our analysis.
Okay, Lisa, take it away.
Good afternoon, everyone. Operating budget highlights for the Department of Public Works and Transportation begin on page 2. As shown in the budget summary at the top of page 2, the proposed FY26 operating budget for the department totals $577.8 million, an increase of $18.9 million or 3.4% over the FY25 budget, including $379.5 million in the Metropolitan District Enterprise Fund, which the council does not appropriate. A proposed FY25 general fund budget appropriation transfer totaling $5 million, $4 million from outside the department, and $1 million from within the department is planned for consideration at the June 2nd, 2025 legislative session, which would result in a 0.02 year-over-year decrease of the general fund budget. This BAT is largely needed to cover storm-related costs in excess of the $6 million storm emergencies budget originally appropriated. Our analysis compares the proposed FY26 budget with the current FY25 budget, but we have taken into consideration in our analysis the department's needs as reflected in the budget appropriation transfer. The general fund portion of the budget totals $143 million and increases by $4 million or 2.9%, primarily due to increases in negotiated salary scale adjustments, refuse collections such as service agreements, fuel subsidies, and 6,150 additional trash collection units, refuse disposal such as waste disposal at Bresco, WB Services Transfer Service Agreement, bulk trash removal, and household hazardous waste disposal, BGE utility costs for street and traffic lights, and paving, cold patch, and motor fuel costs, offset by decreases in recycling advertising that is to be brought in-house and a reduction in loop bus operation service hours. The special fund portion of the budget totals $55.3 million and decreases by $18,000 or 0.03%. Other noteworthy highlights on pages 3 and 4 include the creation of the storm drainage and flood mitigation program from 2 existing programs, a reduction in vacancies to 153 from 195 in March of 24, recruitment retention challenges along with the department's FY26 strategies, slightly increased turnover savings from $3.44 million to $3.5 million, a discussion on the department's commercial trash transfer and Harford County waste disposal special funds, federal grants, recycling statistics, and the Metropolitan District Enterprise Fund. The department advised that it is currently in discussion with the Executive Office regarding any Metropolitan District rate increases for FY26. On page 5, capital budget, equipment financing package, and ARPA highlights are also mentioned. On page 6, Exhibit 1 displays the department's budget history. Keep in mind that with the $4 million budget appropriation transfer from outside the department, the FY25 bar would extend a bit higher. Continuing on page 6, the pie charts show how the proposed funding will be allocated across bureaus and expenditures. The Bureau of Solid Waste Management represents the largest program allocation, while contracts and services represent the largest category of expenditures. On page 7, Exhibit 3 shows the budgeted increases and decreases, with personnel cost changes in yellow, non-personnel cost changes in orange, and the amount of the special fund change in green. Continuing on page 7, Exhibit 4 shows a history of authorized versus filled positions. On page 8, Exhibit 5 reflects the Metropolitan District Enterprise Fund history, and Exhibit 6 shows municipal solid waste tonnage. Exhibits 7 and 8 on page 9 provide residential recycling and bulk trash and bulk recycling tonnage over the last couple of years. On page 10, Exhibits 9 and 10 provide refuse collection compensation history and loop bus ridership. Finally, Exhibit 11 on page 11 reflects storm emergencies costs over the last 6 years. Continuing on page 11, the analysis notes the areas within the budget that may reflect department-specific budget flexibility in an effort to provide insight into the operational context for any potential reductions. Finally, we have prepared a list of questions for the department and the Office of Budget and Finance, which we are hoping can be discussed today or addressed with a written response. I would like to thank the department and the Office of Budget and Finance for their assistance during this budget review process. And at this time, I would like to turn it over for discussion.
Any questions from the members at this point? Okay, thank you, Lisa. Lauren or Liz, did you have anything before we go to Director Buckler?
I'm happy to hear Director Buckler speak right now.
Good afternoon, members of the council. For the record, I'm Lauren Buckler. I'm the Director of DPW&T, here to present our budget for the upcoming fiscal year. As I mentioned last year, our department continues to strive to be transparent to our constituents, to work in an efficient, data-driven approach, and address the needs of our community, to be cognizant of our environmental concerns and the best stewards of Baltimore County as possible. Thank you, Madam County Executive and County Administrative Officer Walker and the Budget Department for all of your help in the preparation of this year's budget. DPWT appreciates the support we received in this annual effort. We've been moving forward with many projects, programs, and initiatives over the past year. Our expanded HR department has been able to reduce our vacancy rate from 22% down to 13.7%. This has been a huge lift and a good partnership with our communications team to get the word out and get our positions filled. We have within our 6 bureaus a great team of dedicated employees that have gotten many amazing achievements done in the last year. A couple that we're going to highlight in the Metropolitan District Office. This is where we do our sewer billing. We do an annual true-up between Baltimore City and Baltimore County for the FY23 data that we worked over the last year to true up with the city. City initially came at us with a $37 million bill. We were able to negotiate that down to $10 million thanks to the hard work of that team. In another effort to promote transparency and make sure our residents are familiar with what we are doing, we've started doing GIS-based story maps. On our website, you can see neighborhood story maps for Pikesville, Dundalk, and Essex that show all the projects in that area and walk you through what's going on. We are in the process of adding maps for Arbutus, Catonsville, and Perry Hall, Whitemarsh to show the projects in that area and how they connect together. More than a year after the collapse of the Key Bridge, we continue to make sure our bridges are safe for our residents. Over the last year, our structures group has inspected 1,000 major bridges and 14 minor structures. This is a huge undertaking. Thanks to their work, we've completed 72 minor bridge repairs in the last year and a variety of maintenance orders. Our prompt response to any issue presented is the result of our inspection, highlights our strong concern and commitment to maintain the safety and functionality of the county's bridges. In calendar year 2024, our organics pilot through solid waste diverted close to 700 tons of organic material, turning it into compost and diverting it from our landfill. That tonnage came from both commercial vendors and residents in the pilot area. From our Transportation Bureau, we are excited to announce that the long-awaited traffic light at Buck Schoolhouse Road in Perry Hall is moving forward. The foundations have been poured, and the poles will be coming into place shortly after that. In our Engineering Bureau, our green infrastructure team is moving forward on a 2,000-acre flood study in the Parkville community. This is a community that was built out in the 50s. It's very densely developed. We have a lot of streams that were buried underground during that development process, which creates flooding for that neighborhood. So we've been able to use ARPA funding to embark on a study to determine what drainage solutions we can provide for that community. Also from that group, the County Engineers Association of Maryland recognized us for Small Project of the Year for the green infrastructure project that we completed at Concrete Homes off of Liberty Parkway in the Dundalk community. We did a series of bioswales to help divert the flow of the water and allow the rain to slowly exfiltrate into the rain bioswales instead of flooding the neighborhood. Another example to ensuring the commitment to safety and well-being of our residents is the progress we've made on the lead and copper water line replacement program. This is a federal EPA mandate. We've been moving forward with an inventory of all service line materials. So this is identifying on the owner side of the line what the material is and asking our residents to submit surveys to tell us what that material is. We've gotten nearly 11,000 surveys back to date and been able to confirm 8,000 of them as legitimate. Within our 6 bureaus, we've made a couple other notable achievements to talk through. In engineering, I want to touch on our development process. We review all developments that come through the county for traffic, for water, for sewer capacity to make sure there is capacity. Over the last year, we've reviewed 70 plans for various private developments. In addition, on top of that, it's the same team that manages the projects for the county. So they're managing 89 design projects that are active at the same time they're reviewing those private development plans. Within our water and sewer section, over the last year, we've installed 3.5 million of new sewer main, rehabilitated 33 miles of sewer main, and installed close to 7 miles of new replacement water mains. For sidewalk connectivity, we launched about 2 years ago a connectivity program in order to create sidewalk in those disconnected communities where we might be missing a couple blocks or so. We've had 300 requests over the last year for that program. It remains very popular, and we are happy to be able to move forward on some of those projects that fit into that program. Within the Bureau of Highways, we, as you know, have been continuing our pavement rating system in order to rank all the roads in Baltimore County. That's complete. We're moving forward using that data for our repaving process. We've also started slurry and crack seal for 14 miles of lane miles over the last year, which is how we continue to expand the life of our existing pavement before it gets to that poor condition. Touching on one of the auditor's budget questions about when we'll have our paving list for FY26, we should have that by mid-June and be able to hand that out to all of you on what that paving list is. And again, we're using our pavement condition indexes, which rated all the roads in Baltimore County in order to rate which ones we're paving, and then we take a look at that against which of those projects or which of those roads have utility work happening in the area. So we make sure we don't pave before utilities digs them up. Also touching, while we're on highways, on the auditor's budget question about the storm emergency budget. Is the $6 million adequate? The auditor provided a great chart showing the fluctuations in our storm budget. These are storms that aren't just snow. This is rain, this is flooding, this is windstorms where we have trees down. So this is year-round. DPWT is called in to address storm damage in county infrastructure, and it fluctuates significantly from year to year. We don't have a crystal ball to tell you exactly how many storms we're going to have next year. The average has been the 6 million, so that's what's proposed in our budget again this year. Solid waste management, we touch 243,000 single-family homes and 82,000 multifamily units for regular pickup. That equates to about 1 million tons of trash and recyclables annually that pass through our facilities. We, in 2025, handled 10,000 bulk trash pickups per week, which has also been an amazing program with great success. Touching on one of the budget questions, there's been a decrease in recycling was questioned. What we're seeing is we're back to pre-pandemic levels. During the pandemic, we saw a huge increase in recycling because we had a lot more people home, ordering a lot more packages. So we saw a lot more coming in for recycling, and we're dropping back down to pre-pandemic as everybody's back to work. One of our newest initiatives within the solid waste area has been increasing recycling in our multifamily communities. What we've found is that there may not be as much communication to those communities, and we're working with a few of them individually to enhance the communication within their community on where the recycling is and what you can put in the recycling, and making sure there's appropriate signage and messaging so the recycling is not contaminated. It's been successful, and we're hoping to expand this to another 10 communities in the next year. Touching on another auditor question about the 10-year solid waste plan. At this point, we don't plan on making any substantive changes to the 10-year solid waste management plan. We consult with MDE regularly about this plan, and every 2 and 3 years, we have to send an update plan to MDE that outlines where we are. The state hasn't asked for any changes to our 10-year plan, and we don't plan to make any changes at this time. Touching on our Transportation Bureau, we have completed the Pikesville pedestrian improvements on Smith Avenue, one of our districts that has been asking for a lot of sidewalk projects. We're excited to get something complete in that area. We've also completed over 20 traffic calming projects in the last year. We are moving forward on our first complete street project on Old Court Road from Rice-Lestown Road to Liberty Road in Pikesville. We had about 50 community members join our last community meeting on this project with great positive support. The project would give space for pedestrian, bikes, cars, mass transit, shared mobility, and refuge islands, encourage slower speeds, and we're looking to have that concept complete by the close of 2025. Another new thing we are working on transportation is an internal crash database dashboard. So we've been working closely with state MSP to have access to the data real time in our own system, so we can look at these intersections and make smarter decisions on our roadways using that data. So we're excited to be able to start looking at that in a more data-driven manner and make some decisions. Touching on another budget question from the auditors, the loop service time is being reduced. Currently, it runs until midnight. We're dropping it down to 10 p.m. We looked at the data on ridership, and we had very few riders from 10 p.m. to midnight, so we're able to reduce those hours, but still keep that service going. We are also continuing to pursue a potential expansion to the loop in Owings Mills. We did a feasibility study that identified that as the next most viable area in the county. We have been pursuing grant opportunities in order to fund that. And once we get some, we'll let you know what that schedule would look like once we have some funding in place. Another new initiative is LED stop signs. We have been installing them in one intersection in each councilmatic district to help with traffic issues, to see if those LED stop signs help to deter some incidents we've had at certain intersections. Within our Metro division, this is our billing again for the sewer program. We've seen an increase in approximately 12 million in the last year and 24 million over the last 2 years. Our customer service has been commendable. We've dropped our average response time for customer appeals from 87 days down to 19 days. This has been great progress from our customer service team in the Metro section. We've also been working with an outside vendor to close meter repair issues. This is what's been able to get us an increase in our billings as we have meter corrections, and an increase of 28% in water consumption, which helps our bills be more accurate, helps our revenues come in better. We have also seen a significant positivity in our proactive approach to sending high water consumption letters. So when we see that you're tracking high in water consumption on your bill, we send you a letter in advance to let you know something might not be right. Maybe you should take a look and look for some leaks. From last year, we're down 5% in those letters that we have to send out. So people are looking, they're making those corrections, and they're lowering their water bill, which is great. So to wrap up, DPWT remains steadfast in our determination of doing all that we can to ensure the health, well-being, and overall quality of life for those who live, work, and travel in Baltimore County, from addressing legacy environmental issues to improving pedestrian safety to addressing key infrastructure needs. We work nonstop to make sure the residents of Baltimore County have the best services possible available to them. We accomplish this with data-driven and responsible yet compassionate approach. This will be accomplished through a collaborative approach that includes consistently searching for innovative and efficient methods. By continuing on this path, we'll make Baltimore a safer, healthier, and overall better place to live, both now and for generations to come. Happy to take any questions that you have.
Councilman Patoka.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Director Buckler. I appreciate the work you're doing on Old Court Road. And thanks for including traffic calming. On Old Court Road has become less of a road and more of a raceway. And so people are in a hurry. The only place they slow down on Old Court Road is where the state trooper lives, because they see his car parked out or her car parked out. I've never seen the trooper. And so they slow down. Their behavior has changed because of that trooper. Even I never exceed the speed limit, or rarely. And even when I'm going the speed limit, when I see the trooper's car out there, my muscle memory forces me to just tap on the brakes, even though I'm not exceeding the speed. So I appreciate what you're doing. I think Old Court Road and many other roads across Baltimore County need an intensive look, not only from our DPW, but from our other partners. We just heard from the police department, and we really need to provide them the tools. For example, speed cameras. They would be well suited to go on Old Court. Our partners in the State General Assembly, especially the Baltimore County delegation, we need to work with them as well to enable Baltimore County to enhance its speed camera initiative for roads, just like Old Court Road and other roads that have become raceways. The number one issue that I hear at community meetings is, and this is new from where it used to be 5 years ago, pre-pandemic, is my neighborhood has become a raceway. Speeding is awful. So I think anytime we do major road reconstruction or surfacing like Old Court Road, I appreciate that you are considering a menu of traffic calming initiatives and implementation, those things that are on the menu. But again, urge my colleagues to work with our state partners, get people to slow down on our roads. Appreciate the work you did on Smith Avenue. The speed, there's noticeable speed reductions. In the beginning, people were running all over the traffic calming devices. People would say the county needs to replace my tires because I ran over a bump out or I ran over a median. But I don't hear that anymore. Everybody has modified their behavior. And really, that's what it's about, modifying behavior on the roads. Let's be civil on the roads, not only on the roads, but in general, but on the roads, we need to be civil. So appreciate you doing it. And I also appreciate you having a team coming out to Powhatan to discuss the street situation. So good job. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Absolutely. Thank you, Councilman Patoka. Any other questions? Councilman Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Buckler, I just want to congratulate you on doing a wonderful job. I tell you, I was so surprised when I was riding down Brynbrook and I saw that LED stop sign looking all pretty, flashing. I said, wow, that's impressive. So I think that that's going to clearly make a difference on that intersection. That's a tough intersection for people. I don't know if they don't see the stop sign, don't know they're supposed to stop or what, but clearly That's an intersection that people have a tendency to run the stop sign. And to the police credit, sometimes they stand there on the side and catch people sort of doing a California roll through the stop sign. But now it's clear with that LED stop sign. And also want to just encourage you to keep on going with the Slurry coat. It's my understanding that I suppose it lasts like 5 years, but we've gotten a lot more time out of the ones that we've done. And now that I see some of the residents complain about their street, and I go look at it and it's not real potholes, it's just that the old Slurry coat is wearing off. So when they see the gray area, they don't, it doesn't look aesthetically pleasing as a solid black top. So I understand that's a very reasonable solution in terms of making the road look new, as opposed to having to mill it up, put new asphalt down. So keep up the good work. Thank you.
Councilman Patoka, did you have another question?
I
or-
did. One quick question.
Thank you, Councilman Jones. Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Councilman Jones reminded me of a new traffic calming measure. He was right in acknowledging the sparkly stop signs. I saw one on Milford Mill Road or near Milford Mill Road. But I also saw, and this would surprise me as well, I saw on Green Tree Road, I saw a device on the side of the road that told you what speed you were going. And it looked like it was actually fastened to the road. Is that something we can get on the west side of Baltimore County?
We have one in each district currently of those speed signs, so we can move them around.
I
Show what
think
your
you're talking
speed
about
is.
the mobile ones, right?
No.
This one was actually affixed to the road.
Okay.
I've
Yeah,
seen
we
two
have
in
some that
Baltimore.
are fixed to the road, one in each district.
Really? Why one?
Why one? Because we have budget constraints.
Because I saw one on Green Tree in the beautiful second district, and I saw another one on Cuckold Point Road. And so I was hopeful. I think they are. How much do they cost?
They're about $15,000, the ones that are in place in the concrete foundation.
Yeah, I would say, and are they powered by solar?
No, they're not solar. The LED stop signs are solar though.
Gotcha. Well, I would say that's 15,000 of the best money spent in Baltimore County. They really do get people to notice. Like our chairman sometimes goes a little fast when he's driving. But it gets
You are
folks-
correct, sir. If I only had Virginia tags, I'd be bit
Yeah.
good though.
But it gets people just to notice, even if they're, because sometimes you're doing other things, and it really, I think it can save lives. So I'm an advocate for all traffic awareness initiatives. I think they're worth more than the dollar value. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Ms. Buckler.
Absolutely. Any other members have a question? Director Buckler, I had a quick, there was a question about I think you answered it, but I either I didn't understand it or I didn't completely hear what you said. You were talking about the decline in recycling material, or there was a question about that. Is that something?
Yeah, there's a question in the auditor's remarks about our decline in recycling from this year for the previous couple years. But if you look at our rates prior to COVID, so we're back down to what that is. And what we believe to be the case is during COVID, everybody was home, people were ordering more packages. We saw a drastic increase in recycling tonnage because we saw more materials that boxes, things like packaging materials that were headed for recycling. Now that people are back at work, we're seeing less of that. So we don't think it's people recycling less. We think they have less packages right now.
Okay. And I think at the hearing we had that we were talking about solid waste. There was some stat that we're close to capacity at the current recycling facility.
We are, and we've had a study completed. We're working on the study to be completed for the MRF, which is what we call our recycling facility, to look at a couple different options for where we go as a capital project down the line. If we can rehab what's there, if we can expand what's there, what our choices are to expand our recycling capabilities.
Is there
You'll see that in the future, but I don't have that ready to go yet.
And do we derive income from that, right? Some
We
of the
do
material
derive
that we
income
sell.
from recycling,
7 million.
7 million annually, roughly. And that fluctuates, the markets fluctuate. We do monthly sales of our recycled materials, and the amount varies. The amount of aluminum, the amount for paper, varies on the market rate.
Okay. All right, great.
I see Councilman Mark's hands up too.
Oh,
Not to take
my
your
screen. I don't
place,
have
Mr.
everybody
Chair.
on my screen, guys. So I'm sorry if I'm missing people. Councilman Marks.
Thank you very much. All I want to do, Lauren, was thank you for briefing me today on the projects in my district. You mentioned a key one, which is the traffic signal at Buck Schoolhouse Road and Perryville Boulevard. Also the traffic circle on Honeygo Boulevard and the upcoming traffic signal at Bird River Road and Campbell Boulevard. So thank you for providing that that status report.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Councilman Marks. Any others? I think we're good. Okay. All right. Well, Director Buckler, we appreciate you being with us today and reporting in. And Director Irwin, who's up?
Okay, now we have the Department of Aging in their fiscal year 26 budget, and we have Raven Vinson again from our office.
Hey, Raven.
Good afternoon, everyone. The operating budget highlights for the Department of Aging begin on page 2. The proposed fiscal year 26 budget for the Department of Aging totals $19 million, an increase of $357,000 or 1.9% over the fiscal year 25 budget. The general fund portion of the budget totals $5 million and increases by $176,000 or 3.6%, primarily due to salary enhancements. For example, COLAs and increments in longevities, and decreased anticipated turnover savings. The special fund portion of the budget, the much larger portion of the budget, totals $14 million and increases by $181,000 or 1.3%, primarily due to an increase in continuing grants, $581,000, offset by fiscal year 25 grants that are not anticipated in fiscal year 26, $400,000. Other noteworthy highlights on pages 2 and 3 include the department's decrease in anticipated turnover savings from 3.1% to 1.8%, the unspent but available for fiscal year 26 special fund balance for grant programs, notable statistics from the department's 2024 annual report, and significant initiatives planned for fiscal year 26. Capital budget highlights are also mentioned on page 3. On page 4, Exhibit 1 displays the department's budget history. The pie charts show how the proposed budget funding will be allocated across programs and expenditures. Special fund grants represent the largest program allocation, while personnel costs represent the largest category of expenditures. Continuing on page 5, Exhibit 3 shows the budgeted increases and decreases, with personnel cost changes in blue, non-personnel cost changes in orange, and special funds in red. Exhibit 4 shows a history of general fund authorized versus filled positions. On page 6, the analysis notes the areas within the budget that may reflect department-specific budget flexibility. in an effort to provide insight into the operational context for any potential reductions. Finally, we have prepared a list of questions for the department and the Office of Budget and Finance, which we are hoping can be discussed today or addressed with a written response. I would like to thank the department and the Office of Budget and Finance for the assistance during this budget review process. And at this time, I would like to turn it over for discussion.
Well, thank you, Raven. Any questions from the members at this point? I gotta look to see if anybody raised their hand. You can just shout out if you have a question. Okay. Oh, Councilman Jones.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mrs. Tan, I just want to say that, hey, listen, what you do is extremely important. I said it the other night. It's so important that we take care of a couple of people, a couple of groups in our society, our youngest and our oldest. So it's so important that you make sure you continue to do all the work that is necessary to make sure our folks can age in place right here in Baltimore County and have a nice time at our communities, at our senior centers. I visit quite a few from time to time, and I'm always happy to see all the activities and all the things going on and the trips they take. And I just think it's a wonderful thing, and I would urge any senior out there to, instead of sitting at home watching those judges on television all day, going out to your senior center and see what's going on, because there's a lot of stuff going on, from arts and craft to exercise to trips. So keep up the good work.
Thank you, Councilman Jones. Okay, Director Irwin, did you?
I think we can let Director Tan take over.
All right, Director Tan, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chairman Ertel, apologies. Good afternoon, Chairman Ertel and members of the council. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak with you today and for your continued support of the work we do at the Department of Aging. It is such an honor to serve as the department's director. I was confirmed by this very council in November of 2024, and I officially started in December. And today actually marks exactly 5 months since I stepped into this role. I also like to extend my gratitude to the county executive, to the county administrative officer, and our colleagues at the budget office for their ongoing support in shaping and advancing our budget. Today, I am joined by Deputy Director Michelle Mills and our Chief Fiscal Officer, Thomas Joseph, which is very awkward for me to say because he's known as TJ in our office. And online, just in case I need to call in a friend, I have our leadership team also listening online. Together, we support a dedicated team of 201 employees spread across 3 programmatic divisions. These divisions are backed by our hardworking administrative team who manages over 30 programs in our department. Our funding is a mix of county general funds, state and federal grants, and private philanthropy. It's worth noting that we're about 75% funded from grants, which is mostly administered through the Maryland Department of Aging under the Older Americans Act. As many grant-funded departments are doing, we are closely monitoring federal changes, especially to Medicaid, as they could impact long-term care support and services. To prepare, we're engaging with state and national advocacy networks, managing our budget very carefully and spending every dollar that we can, and allowing for natural staff attrition to occur. We're also maximizing current resources and partnerships while also looking for new grant opportunities to expand on our work. While we're preparing for these potential uncertainties at the federal level, our team is driven by our mission. The mission is to strengthen lives by connecting individuals to programs, services, and the resources that they need. Our vision is clear. We imagine a Baltimore County where growing older is embraced as a valuable stage of life. We want every older adult to feel supported, connected, and empowered to thrive. And as many of you know, Baltimore County's aging population is growing very rapidly. By 2030, 1 in 4 residents will be over the age of 60. While living longer is something to celebrate, our service systems aren't really prepared for the changes and challenges that come with it. That's why earlier this month, I am so pleased that our department launched our 5-year strategic plan. It's our roadmap for helping residents not only live longer, but live well. Our strategic plan focuses on 5 key priority areas: affordable aging, caregiver support, healthy aging, communications, and volunteerism. I'd like to take a couple more minutes, if I can, to walk you through some of our accomplishments in these key priority areas. I'll start with affordable aging. This is about making sure older adults can access the services they need to stay healthy, independent, and financially stable. As a key part of this effort, our Maryland Access Point is our call center called MAP, which responds to over 25,000 calls each year. And they make about 39,000 service referrals each year as well. This is often the first stop for older residents and their caregivers to seek services and support. In addition to connecting people with services, we're also helping them age safely at home. Our age-friendly home modification program, known as the Because program, is a great example of that. Launched in 2020 with CivicWorks, Rebuilding Together Baltimore, and HIGH, and supported by a $1.2 million grant from the Weinberg Foundation, we've been able to repair about 150 homes each year. We're on our 2nd year, and we're on track to reach that number again in this fiscal year, and we're currently actively pursuing new funding to continue this program. Moving on to caregiver support. With your support last week and the approval of the supplemental funding, we launched the county's first dementia and long-term care navigation program. We're actively hiring a full-time dementia navigator to help families plan ahead, access resources, and avoid any crises that might come ahead. We're also creating a new Living with Dementia roadmap available on print and online, and this roadmap is very popular among our aging network. In addition, we offer monthly dementia-friendly trainings, memory cafes, screenings. We've trained over 20 team members to be certified dementia practitioners. Together, these efforts are reducing stigma, helping families feel supported and not alone through this difficult journey. Third priority area is healthy aging. Aging well means more than just healthcare. It means staying connected and having a purpose. This year, we've supported 6 new emerging senior villages. They are grassroots volunteer-led networks that reaches over 750 older adults. And I have to say, I'm really proud that we're serving and reaching underserved communities through this work. This impact is both powerful and cost-effective. We're also very excited about the historic investment into our capital investments. In this year alone, we've in the budget is $66.1 million in this year's capital budget to expand our HVAC systems, modernize our elevators, and build 2 new senior centers in Jacksonville and Hereford. Our 4th priority area is communications. We're revamping our website and expanding our reach, especially around safety issues like elder abuse, which continues to be on the rise. Our long-term care ombudsman program and the Decent Rest Coalition are working together to respond. And this year, we're launching a new public health and public education campaign and hosting a county-wide event in June for World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. And finally, our volunteerism priority area. I have to say our volunteer infrastructure is one of the most robust infrastructure that I've ever seen in my career. This year, we've expanded the Baltimore County Volunteer Center. It now includes over 1,000 active volunteers and 85 partnering agencies. Many of them are nonprofits. Several are also approved by Baltimore County Public Schools for student service hours, which helps us build that intergenerational connection in our programming. At our senior centers, volunteers are the heart of our work. Some of the centers rely on up to 60 or more volunteers to support their programming and day-to-day operation. Volunteers extend our reach and deepen our impact in ways that we couldn't do before. These 5 strategic priority areas are helping us build a stronger, smarter infrastructure to support a population that's living longer and living well. I appreciate your time today and the opportunity to share some of our key accomplishments and goals. Thank you for your continued support of our department and our proposed budget and programming. I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, are there questions for Director Tan? Councilman Patoka.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, first off, Ms. Tan, I want to say thank you for the chair at the Reisterstown Senior Center, the bench. That was well done, done quickly. Appreciate it. And the other thing I wanted to just share with you is the Because program is one of the most important things we could do. It genuinely changes the quality of life for seniors that live in the county. I know this personally because I ran the HUBS program for LifeBridge Health, which was the housing upgrades to benefit seniors, which was the same, very similar operation as the Because program. One thing that we did at LifeBridge in the HUBS program is our social workers, while they would go out and visit a client that might have called in for, let's say, handrails or something that'll help them navigate their house, or if their boiler was broken, the social worker would also peek in other things in the house to make sure there weren't other issues related to that senior quality of life.
I could do that
and
for
kind of
fun,
behavior.
like when the
And
Zoom
so
like.
the Because program.
Uh-oh, I lost sound.
The other professionals.
I can't hear you, sir.
Okay. I was saying when I directed the HUBS program for LifeBridge Health, which was very similar to the Because program. So if we had a call that someone needed handrails or their boiler was broken, and what we would do is we'd send a social worker out to the house who would evaluate not only the handrail request or the boiler request or the leaky roof request, but also would kind of just look around the house to make sure that the living environment for that senior was in an appropriate way, that there weren't other issues that might impact that senior. Let's say, for example, hoarding or something like that. I didn't know if we send social workers in to evaluate other living conditions while they're doing the Because.
Councilman, thank you so much for uplifting that program. I was very familiar with the work that you did in HUBS, and you were a founding member of that program. It has expanded significantly in the city with city investment. Our Because program is very similar. The coordination actually occurs right here in our department through our community outreach specialists. People would call the Maryland Access Point, and we have our community outreach specialists providing that intake analysis and then going out and providing that wraparound services before calling one of the 3 nonprofits to do the housing upgrades that's necessary in that work. And so very similar, but it's actually housed in coordination right here in our department versus with HUBS, it was organized with the Department of Housing and the nonprofits and hospitals.
The other question related to that is you said much of the funding was coming from the Weinberg Foundation. And when we did HUBS, we did get significant funding from Weinberg, but we also got funding from the Stillman Foundation, I'm sorry. I didn't know if they were a funding source for you or not at this time.
They were a funding source. They were actually seed money, and I have Deputy Director Mills who can provide more information, but my understanding is they were the seed money to provide that support for the community outreach specialists within our department for the first year, and then we were able to kick in with local ARPA dollars to be able to support that. Deputy Director Mills, is that correct? Is there additional information there?
Yeah, so the Stolman Foundation provided the funding for the Because Coordinator for the first year, and then we funded the second 2 years with ARPA dollars, and now we're looking for additional funding. Mhm.
I see. Thank you
Yeah,
so
they were
much.
very supportive and very thankful we had them as part of our partnership collaboration.
Yeah, this is something, you know, irrespective of how tough the budget gets into the future, I think this is something that, again, as I said, the DPW, the value of it is well beyond the dollars that we spend. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you
Thank
for
you, Mr.
highlighting
Chair.
that.
Thanks for
program.
your hard work. Take care.
Thank you, Councilman Patoka. Any others for Director Tan? Director Tan, I had a kind of a general weird question. Are you?
We're taking all questions today.
Well, it's not really a weird question. It's you know, as we, you know, because the county obviously has a large population of over 65, are you seeing any trends that are encouraging, alarming, things that you think we're going to have to deal with in the future? Just kind of wanted to ask, as we see, you know, are there challenges that we're starting to see that maybe that the department didn't have to deal with in the past that might be emerging, that kind of thing?
But, you know, as I mentioned earlier in my remarks, it's people are living longer, and people are needing to really provide, needing financial stability for a longer period of time. And we're seeing that as a huge trend. And that's why one of the areas of focus is affordable aging, is really to help connect those resources so people can afford to live longer for those reasons. And so that's kind of a trend, and that's what we're preparing for as the population grows and grows older and we're living longer. I think the age expectancy is no longer 78 anymore. And so we're living longer and well, and people really need, and we're also seeing that older adults are returning back into the workforce. And so we're having conversations around workforce and really engaging them in these volunteer opportunities so that they're not aging in place alone and in isolation.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any others?
That was not a weird question. That was a very good question.
Oh, no. Well, I didn't mean a weird, I just kind of off the wall. Okay. So I think unless there's other questions, Director Irwin, any questions that we think we needed to cover that were auditor questions that weren't answered?
We just asked for answers in writing for anything that might not have been covered that's listed in our package.
Okay. All right. Well, I think unless there's any other items or questions, we're Department of Aging. That's all we have today, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Yes. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Have a great afternoon. Appreciate you being here. And
So, Mr. Chairman, can I ask a quick question?
Councilman Marks. Yes. Sorry.
Yes, I wanted to ask the auditor, has she received all the information she needs regarding BCPS? Specifically this issue of the compensation and the new funding that has suddenly become available?
We just received some responses this afternoon, and I haven't been able to look at them yet. So I can let you know later once I've read the responses. I've got people working on it, but my focus has been here, and I haven't had a chance to answer that yet.
Right. I appreciate that. I mean, we all got this email on Friday, and their budget hearing is Thursday. So
yes.
Yep. Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Councilman Marks. All right. Well, I think
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
Just a programming note. In about 10 minutes, we'll convene the work session, at which time we will do the landmarks preservation public hearing right at the outset, and then go right into the work session. Just wanted to make a note of that.
And that meeting's virtual, or because I know
Yes.
most of us are here.
Yes, sir. That meeting is virtual.
Okay, so we're just staying at our desk?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, thank you, everyone. Have a great afternoon.